Now, after the Mastership promotion, we go to our Balanced Life Scenario segment. It's presented by our very own founder and chairman, Dr. Han-Gill Park. Let us take a look at this video.
Atomy is a company that you can succeed in even if you don't have any prior experience or any acquaintances. If you observe those who have been successful, their partners under them are not from their personal networks. Their personal networks only amount to 1% or less. There are tens of thousands of people under them. But most of these people are not their acquaintances. So even if you don't have any human connections, that's okay. Those who have many human connections can do other things. But if you don't, Atomy is surely a business that is beneficial for you. Why? Because this business is not all about personal networks. As you do this business, you come across people who have large networks. There are some people who say, I cannot do this work because I'm not articulate. If you're not good at speaking, you need to do Atomy. What do you think you'll be able to do other than this? Atomy is a business where even if you're inarticulate, you can recruit people who are good at speaking under you. There are people who are good at speaking and those who are not. You can just put those people who are good under you. If you lack personal connections, just recruit people who are social. Your weaknesses can be filled by your partner's strengths. That is why if you think you are not intelligent and cannot even introduce the products to other people, you should certainly get into the Atomy business. All you have to do is place people who are smarter than you under you. If you have nothing, how can you be successful in other endeavors? In Atomy, however, you can be successful even if you're untalented. You have now met the company that is Atomy. Atomy is a tool that can make changing your social status a possibility. All you have to do is climb the ladder that we call Atomy. However, you first need to decide how high it is you want to climb. Do you know why certain people can't succeed? Some people say it is because you do not wish to succeed. This means that people cannot be successful because they do not even think about succeeding. Thus, you must envision becoming rich. But what does it mean to become rich? Most people say, of course, everybody wants to be rich. Do rich people buy their children a home when they get married? Rich people all buy their children homes. I'm telling you, they do. Some people say they want their children to be independent, but that's all garbage. Just buy them a house. Yeah. And rich people take care of their parents as well. Not just $200 or $300 a month like most of you do. Many people think with this that they have done their duty. How do you think old people can live with just $200 or $300? They actually incur more cost due to disease, so you should give them at least $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Therefore, if you want to become rich, you have to think about providing your parents $2,000 to $3,000 every month. If you don't think like this, you don't truly wish to be rich. All the ladies here, buy your husbands the car that they want. Rich people do that. So resolve to buy your husband a Mercedes. If you think like this, you are wanting to become rich. If you say, I can't even afford a used car, this means that you do not want to become rich. Yeah. In fact, many people want to be successful, but they fail in doing so. Statistics show that from birth to age 30, people usually study. And from 30 to 60, what do people do? They work. And from 60 to 90, people are usually in retirement. However, there's a rumor going around these days that people will live to be 120. If you live until 120 years old and have no money, is that a blessing or a curse? This can be a curse for most people in their old age. Even though most people prepare for 30 years and they work for 30 years, only 1% of all people become successful. Only 1% were wealthy. Only 4% of all people were financially secure. They could survive independently. These people were not very wealthy, but they could get by. 15% of all people had passed away before this. And 10% were living from paycheck to paycheck. They could only just make ends meet. The remaining 70% of people had no jobs nor any money in their old age. This shows that most people were diligent in their studies and in their jobs over a 60-year span. But why was it that only 1% of them were able to be successful? There was actually a person who was aware of this phenomenon. Andrew Carnegie came from a poor family, but he achieved wealth later in life. He recognized how a vast amount of the world was living in poverty. Carnegie asked himself whether he could become successful if he were born again into a poor family. His conclusion? He would be successful even if he were born again 5 or 10 times into a poor family. Then why was it that all of these people could not be successful? The reason for this phenomenon was because people did not know the laws of success. People did not know how to become successful. So Carnegie decided to let people know the method for achieving success. He approached a man named Napoleon Hill, and he took on the task given to him by Carnegie. For 20 years, he conducted research on how to become successful. His work actually had become the foundation in the United States for the academic field of success. Actually, this thing called the laws of success is not just something that a person can just make up. These principles are actually like the laws of nature. Laws of nature, such as the laws of gravity and the direction that the sun rises and sets, are absolutes. They are predetermined. Stephen Covey calls this the true north principle. The true north principle. It means that the direction north is predetermined. Try pointing with your finger. Lift your finger, everyone. Point to the north. Where is north? Yeah, thank you. You may put your hands down now. It's all over the place. What do you need? You need a compass. The compass will show you which direction is north. That means even before we check with the compass, the direction north is already fixed. That is why the laws of success are not something that one can just make up. Rather, the way to success has already been predetermined. If you follow a certain path, you will succeed. But if you divert from that path and you try going your own way, you will not be able to succeed. Carnegie did not create the laws of success. He did not create them. And it's not something that I have made up either. If you follow these principles, you will succeed. If you don't, you will not succeed. Some people call this the laws of farming. The laws of farming are actually like the laws of nature. If you want to be successful in farming, you need to farm according to the laws of farming. If you decide to sow in the fall and reap during the springtime, you will not be able to farm your crop. That is why you have to follow the laws of farming. All farmers follow the laws of nature when they farm. Everyone should follow the laws of nature. Let us then see how a farmer conducts his farming on the farm. Let's also learn about the laws of success. What is the first thing that a farmer must do? Many people think that it's preparing the seeds. Others say you have to have the land ready. Some say you need capital to buy the land. The farmer is the most important. Farming tools are essential. There are lots of suggestions, but the first thing that a farmer must do is decide what and how much it is he intends to reap. This is the first thing that a farmer must do. Let's say, for example, you want to reap 10 bags of rice. If you set this goal, then all of your decisions from here on out will be based on those 10 bags of rice. So, if the farmer has the goal of reaping 10 bags of rice, he must decide how much land will be necessary to do that. He also must decide what is necessary for the seed beds and how many rice seeds he will need. The amount of rice seed is determined by the 10 bags of rice. If your goal is to reap 2 bags of peanuts, you need to prepare peanut seeds. The tools you need will also depend on what you reap. So the first thing that a farmer must think about is what it is that he intends to reap. All of his decisions will be based on this goal that's in his head. You must first draw in your mind what success is going to look like for you. What will your life look like in 3 or 5 years? What kind of house will you live in? What kind of car will you drive? Who will you be dining with? How will you contribute to those who are in need? And how are you going to earn people's respect? These are the things that must be drawn up in your mind. If you paint this mental picture, it will come true in 3 to 5 years. You have now met with Atomy, a tool that can make you rich and successful. Now that you have met with this tool, all you have to do is set your goals. What kind of goals are we talking about here? You need to set the goal of a balanced life. Why? In human life, there is the aspect of the flesh. Then there's spirit and soul. Another aspect that affects our life is our environment. What the flesh wants is to live for a long time, and the desire to live abundantly. In other words, people have the desire to live well. The spirit wants to live conscientiously. It also wants to live forever, so this has to do with time. This shows that animals are fundamentally different from humans. Humans did not evolve from monkeys. What's different is that animals do not have a spirit. Do animals have a conscience or not? Of course not. Let's say a dog bit your neighbor's leg. Does the dog regret that evening that it had bit someone? Have you ever seen a dog experience regret before? There are no such dogs. Why? Because animals have no conscience. Animals actually have no sense of time at all. So to them, the past and the future are the same. They don't understand what it's like to age. Have you seen a dog worry about old age? No, they're just content if they're full. But humans are different. They always long for eternity. In the Bible, it says God has given man the desire for eternity. That is why we long to live forever. We must also receive love from our Creator. Only then can we be truly satisfied. If not, your life will be meaningless and empty. You will lack happiness despite having gained knowledge. If you read Solomon's Ecclesiastes, it says meaningless, meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What can benefit the human soul by toiling under the sun? That is why, although our desires seem to be infinite, they cannot be filled like an endless sea. You must ultimately fill this need by the love of your Creator. That is why we must experience love. Next, the souls of we humans desire to experience peace. Humans have a desire to have peace in their hearts. Can you say a person is successful if he's been angry for his entire life? You cannot call a person successful if he has blamed and hated others for his entire life. Have you seen someone who is very rich yet somehow hostile? There are people who cannot trust others. You cannot deem such a life to be successful. That is why people must receive respect from one another and exchange good sentiments. Humans also have a desire to know the unknown. Essentially, people have the desire to learn. All of these things need to be satisfied. Also, if humans do not contribute to their surroundings, especially in the environment or in their atmosphere, they will die unsatisfied. They will think that they are useless. Even if a person becomes rich and successful, if they do not contribute back to the world, they will feel useless. They will be filled with deep regret. When all four of these categories have been satisfied, only then can we deem one's life balanced. Our life's goal must be to live a balanced life. On top here is your ideal goal, and down here is your current reality. This ladder that will help you reach your goal is going to be this tool that we call Atomy. We are trying to reach this goal using this tool. And what we are ultimately trying to achieve is a balanced life. So, a person must know how to bless, love, and earn respect from others. Now, these four categories are not separate. Rather, they are overlapped like this. There's the flesh, which desires to live well. Then, we have the spirit that wants to love. And finally, there's the soul that wants to learn. Then we have our surrounding environment. All of these things, however, are interrelated. If they get separated, everything becomes meaningless. Money alone will be meaningless. To love and to learn can be meaningless on its own. However, the reason why we must make money and become rich is because of our loved ones. This is where passion originates. True passion comes from this overlap right here. That is why those who have no passion have no love. If you really love your husband or your wife, then you will say the following: "Honey, you've been working day and night for so long. You should go get some rest now. You've been working so hard for our family. Honey, let me take responsibility for our family from now on. In order to give our spouses a rest, we must live well." A person once said that there was a song that he hated. Dad, take strength. We are here. He said he hated that song the most. That man was already working so hard and was on the brink of collapsing. Wouldn't it be nice if they had sung, "Dad, just take rest, we will do the rest"? It's just sad to see the children and the wife telling the father to stay strong when the father has already worked so hard. Do you know what men worry about the most? Most of men's worries are about their wives and children. Even incompetent men worry about their wives and children. Though it seems like they do not, every one of them does. If you have loved ones in your lives, you must live well. And in order to live well, you need to learn. The reason why all of you are sitting here this late is because you have people who you truly love. That passion has brought all of you here, sitting with us late at night. I've also had difficult times in my life. I really longed to become rich one day. Actually, I worked as an employee for 17 years. After leaving that job, I started an internet shopping mall. I created a massive internet shopping mall that sold over 10,000 products. But I was ahead of the times, apparently. I started in 1999 and launched in 2000. I was too ahead of the time when there weren't many internet users. How can I buy some mackerel? Go to our online store. How do I do that? At that time, households usually didn't own computers yet, and it was a time when internet LAN cables were just being laid. I had to wait for the age to catch up to my business. So I went through many hard times and I went completely bankrupt. I lived for 3 years in a cheap, tiny studio apartment. Actually, before, I used to look down on people who were poor. I thought that if anyone just tried hard enough, they could succeed. I thought that poor people just had the wrong attitude. After my company collapsed, I got ill from the stress of my bankruptcy. I contracted cirrhosis of the liver and my blood sugar levels rose to 500. My body started to deteriorate. My friend, who was a doctor, said he could not treat me anymore. He told me to go to a hospital. My friend was a diligent doctor, but he gave up on my condition. So I realized just how serious of a state I was in. I was devastated. And at the time, the doctor would not let me work. I was cornered and hopeless. That was when I started to empathize with the poor. I realized that such things could happen to anybody. Because I have experienced such hardships, I really hope that each and every one of you will be able to live well. Those who are here today, I'm sure some of your parents are ill. Maybe some of you, your children are handicapped. Maybe some of your husbands have lost their jobs. Some of you might have a lot of debt with possible eviction. Or maybe some of you can't even pay for your children's tuition. All of you have your own story to tell. I really hope that such people in difficult situations can become rich through Atomy. And I hope through Atomy, all of you will be able to help other people as well. Yeah. That is why I want to point out to you that you need to refer to these 4 categories to set your goals. You need to be able to draw in your minds a movie clip of your life, a life of living well, loving, learning, and contributing. In order to do this, you need to create a scene. When a director makes a movie, he needs scenes, right? Let me explain to you how to write your life scenario using a very simple format. Then all you have to do is fill in the sheet. If you hand in your life scenario for tomorrow, we will have time to present them. For those people who were here last month and last year, I suggest you rewrite your life scenarios. Even our high-ranking members rewrite their life scenarios. And for those who have life scenarios that have come true, write how it has come true and rewrite your new goals. Let me explain to you how to write your life scenario. This is what the sheet will look like. There will be circles on the outside, and then you have to write down different factors from 4 of these categories. You are trying to design a well-balanced life right here. One factor from the health category should go in, right? In order to live an abundant life, your basic needs must be met. These days, food and clothing needs are no problem. However, most people struggle with housing issues. Next, in order to live well, you'll need a nice car, and you'll probably have to travel once in a while. You are also going to need to resolve the problem of giving and receiving love. An example of that would be filial piety. What else should go in here? Maybe you could add to your children's education. Maybe your personal studies could be included as well, if you're interested in a new field, right? Also, if you want to contribute to those around you, and if you want to live a content life, you're going to need cash as well. Some cash would be nice, right? It would be nice to have about $100,000 in cash that only you can use without your husband knowing, right? Wouldn't that be nice? So, write that down. If you want $500,000, then write that down. Maybe some of you want to get rid of your debt. That should be your priority, right? Also, maybe some of you would want to contribute. You need to write at least 1 point from each of these categories. As you can see, there are 10 marks in each slot. You should check your status in each of these slots. Let's say you don't have any problems with your health. For your house, be specific on what kind of house it is that you want to live in. What kind of house? What kind? How big? 160 square meters. Where do you want to live? Okay, Yangpyeong. How much is the house? $1.5 million. Okay. Be specific. What kind of house do you live in right now? A house with a $70,000 deposit. Let's give that about a 2. What kind of car do you want to drive? Mercedes-Benz. There are different classes for Mercedes as well. Let's say S Class 500. What do you drive now? A beat-up sedan. Okay. Yeah. The car will probably cost you about $200,000, $250,000 including the license plate and other things. Next. Where do you want to travel? Around the world. Okay. Where have you been so far? Sorak Mountain in Korea. So, fill out your life scenario. Go ahead and write down the goals that you really want to achieve. These goals need to be absolute goals. What's the definition of an absolute goal? An absolute goal is something that will drive you mad if it is achieved. Something that will make you work like a madman. A goal that you will be content dying trying to achieve. That is what we call an absolute goal. That's the type of goal you must set for yourself. Try adding all of these goals of yours, such as fulfilling filial piety towards your parents by giving them $3,000 a month. When you add up all your other goals as well, the least amount you need will be about $30,000. Even if you tighten your belt, you'll need about $20,000. If you want to have a little bit of a cushion, you'll need about $50,000 a month. If you are in your 20s, it's okay to receive $20,000 a month for the rest of your life. But if you're in your 60s and 70s, you don't have that much time. Then you're going to need a lot more money. So, these are the calculations that we have made. Some of you might say, I can't even make $2,000. What do you mean $20,000 or $30,000? I think there are maybe 5 people who think like this here. However, I believe that there is a misconception about money. People can't make money because they don't understand money. The following are the types of misunderstandings. People think that earning a lot of money is more difficult than earning only a little money. They think that a lot of money is difficult to earn. This is not true. Let's say someone earns $30,000 a month. There's a person who makes $1,000 a month, and a person who makes $20,000 a month, and a person who makes $50,000 a month. Who do you think is making money in the most inefficient way? It's the person only making $1,000, then the one making $3,000. Those that are making $20,000 actually have it pretty easy. And those making $50,000 a month say making money is really easy. Those who make $500,000 a month, all they have is money. Making a lot of money is not necessarily more difficult. Just because you make 10 times more does not mean you're working 10 times as hard. There's a reason for this. This is the reason. Most people want to make between $3,000 and $7,000 a month. That's why this range is the most competitive. The smartest and most competent people flock to this salary range. That is why people in this range have such a difficult time. Strategically, one should not try to go into this range. There are actually fewer people who want to make $20,000 to $50,000 a month. That's why the competition in that range is quite low. And that's why making big money is relatively easy. There's also another case. We learned in school that there are expenses and incomes. You were taught to set your expenses according to your income, right? This is how you were taught, right? However, people who live like this are all poor. People who set their expenses according to their income, people who make a budget, are all poor people in the middle class. Do rich people make a budget? No, they don't. I've rarely seen any wealthy people keep a budget on their spending. No matter how hard you try, you cannot become rich by saving what little income that you have. Then what must you do? You must first set a goal for your expenses. Maybe you want to spend $20,000 a month or $50,000 a month. Maybe you need $50,000 a month. Then you'll have to look for a source of income. You have to look for work that will provide for your expenses. You should not jump into work that cannot earn you $50,000. If that's your attitude, then you will become rich. And when you're poor, You should not save. You can never become rich by saving when you are poor. Foolish people try to save money when they are poor. And they spend a lot when they're rich. However, you should save up your money when you're rich. And when you are poor, you should spend everything that you have. It's useless trying to save a few pennies. I told you that I had lived in a very small house for 3 years. It was a small home, and the rent was $500 a month. During wintertime, the house would get so cold. I would tell my wife, "Honey, turn up the heater." If your heating bill is $100, the house is still pretty cold. Just using $50 more on heating could warm up that house. And people only use the heater for about 5 months every year, right? How much did I save then? That's $50 times 5 months, so $250. $250 times 3 years, that's $750. I saved $750 over 3 years by shivering in the cold. Even thinking about that now, I am so frustrated. I told my wife that those who are poor should not save. I said we should just put up the heating. Do you know what she told me? We are in this situation because you think that way. Husbands who don't make money do not have a say in their household spending. Ladies, even if your husbands don't bring home money, truth is truth. Look, I don't know why women look down on men when they don't have income. They are so mean. I have a lot of bitterness towards women. Not towards a lot of women, just towards one woman. How can she make me freeze for 3 years just to save $750? Is there use in saving money when you're poor? There is none. When you don't have money, just spend whatever you have. Make sure you're warm and eat well. Spend everything that you have. When should you save? When you earn a lot of income. When you have $30,000 or $50,000 coming in. That's when you should save $10,000 or $20,000 a month. When you save during that time, you will be able to save plentifully. But if you're only making $2,000 or $3,000 a month and you want to save a little money from that income, that's why you can't get rich, because you don't understand how money works. Rich people, however, will not tell you about the principles of money. I am a benevolent rich man. That's why I'm telling you this. Let's review. In our minds, we must have the desire to become rich. That is why you need to write your life scenario, so that you can play in your mind a movie that shows the kind of life that you want to live. You need to be able to see vividly in your mind what kind of car it is that you're driving, how it is you will bless your relatives, how you will treat your friends, and what kind of house you'll be living in. You must be able to envision this vividly in your mind. In my case, I love cars. I was once a member of a network marketing company. I have reached the highest rank in that company before. I have a lot of experience as a contractor in network marketing. At the time, I was earning a meager salary. This was only about 10 years ago, and I was driving a beat-up car. But since starting network marketing, I set the goal to one day drive a Mercedes S500. So whenever I got the opportunity, I would always go to the Mercedes car dealer. And I would always check out my dream car. One night, I was about to go to bed, but I could not take my dream car out of my mind. I couldn't sleep. So, in the middle of the night, I went down to the Mercedes dealership. I stared at it from outside the store, peering into the glass windows. Then after some time, I came home and went to bed again. It was all very vivid for me. Once I closed my car door, I realized that it made a thunk sound. A Mercedes makes a very nice sound when the door closes. But my car made this thunk sound. I asked myself, what's wrong with my Mercedes? I came to my senses and realized that it was still in my beat-up car. I was still driving an old car, but I imagined as if I were driving a Mercedes. You need to be a little crazy like I am. If there's a house that you really want to live in, you should go visit model houses. You should go and check them out frequently, and you should inquire about the house. What are my options with the walls? What about the curtains? I want my furniture here. You need to go there many times. You need to embed these images in your mind so that you can see the life you want to live vividly. I would go crazy if only I could achieve this goal. I would lose my mind. I would lose sleep over this. You need to reach this level when setting your goals. Is everything complete if you just set these goals? The answer is yes. It has all been scientifically proven. Our bodies actually cannot really separate between imagination and reality. There are times when you're so tired in the mornings, right? Sometimes your body is so heavy, like wet cotton, right? If you were to receive $3,000 a month, would your body be just as heavy? Or do you think you'd wake up as light as a feather? Your body would probably be as light as a feather. Atomy's Hemohim product is very good for the immune system. It's very good for the body's recovery as well. However, there is something that is even more effective than Hemohim. It's better for the immune system and for your recovery, and that something is money. Imagine if you were to receive $30,000 to $50,000 every month. If you were to receive that kind of money every month, all of your illnesses would be cured. Whether it be arthritis, back pain, or headaches, all of your illnesses would be cured. It would also boost your immune system. Your body would change. Your facial expressions would change as well. The best way to succeed is to vividly imagine money coming into your bank account. Just by imagining this, you will achieve it. Imagining sparks reaction, just as if something has actually happened. Let's do an experiment. Why don't you all imagine that there is a pomegranate in each of your mouths? Now, bite into the fruit. Can you taste the sweet and sour taste of the pomegranate? What's happening inside your mouth right now? You're salivating, right? Raise your hand if you're not. You need to go to a hospital. Normal people should salivate by imagining the pomegranate in their mouths, just as if it were real. This is what we want. Imagine receiving $50,000 a month. Then imagine taking that money and buying a massive house. A house that you've always dreamed of. And imagine that you're driving a Mercedes. Plus, you're relaxing in the back seat. Try to envision how you can make this a reality. Our expressions will change, and our health will improve. Our speech will change, and our eyes will light up as well. With this positive energy, you will achieve success. That's why the most important thing is self-confidence. You need to believe that you will be successful. You need to think about what kind of house you're going to live in. What about your car? Or how you're going to give back to society? How will you help your relatives? How will you show your humility when you gain praise from others? You should not act vainly, but rather say, I was lucky that I met Atomy. I don't deserve it, but somehow I was able to make money. You need to be ready to be humble as well. How will you act with humility when people show you respect and start praising you? Start practicing now. When I was in school, I didn't really study at all. But after getting into network marketing, I read a lot of books. Do you know why? Why do you think? Because if our company grew, professors, ministers, and generals might come. There might have been a day when board members and CEOs of major companies would check out our company. When they did, I should have something to say to them, right? But I realized that I did not have much knowledge, so it was urgent for me to read a lot of books. After reading about 250 books, I was able to get the gist of the laws of success. I now had a rough outline of how to manage the company. Of course, I'm not as knowledgeable as Dr. Lee. I also know that I cannot ever be as smart as he is. However, I felt the urgency to acquire knowledge. This was when we were first starting out with just 17 members. I was worried then about how I would explain this company if many people gathered to hear me. I drew a mental picture of myself becoming successful. As a result, I read more and acquired a lot more knowledge. Though I still had a long way to go, I was able to manage. It was also then when I thought Atomy would go global. I declared we would be a global company in front of 17 people. That I was to buy them a Mercedes, even though I myself rode in a cheap, used car. I told the people I was with that I was going to buy them a Mercedes. What would be the normal thing for people to do? It would be to say, go buy yourself a new car first. Who were the ones that followed me? It was people whose minds were not working properly. It was when Royal Master Sung-il Kim and Crown Master Jeong-Su Park were there. They followed me regardless. If you think about it, it's completely absurd. But that dream has now become a reality. It was actually even more crazy back then when I said that we would go global with just 17 members. I didn't even have an office, but I said I was the president. I was always the president from the very beginning. My younger brother was the VP, the only employee. I was the president of such a company. I knew I was meant to be the president. I knew that there were going to be many companies under us, so I said, I'm going to be the president. That's how I became the president. If you are able to turn such an absurd story into reality, that story becomes legend. Yes, earning $50,000 a month may seem crazy, but it's becoming a reality for a lot of people. Do you know who is achieving this dream? It is people who are not very smart at all. Smart people question the validity of our business. It is the members who just follow our company that have challenged themselves to make $50,000 a month. It is these people who are becoming successful. I've seen a lot of these people gain success. Do you know the half-wit Yong-Wook Park? He comes from a very humble background. He said he used to run a fish shop. He said that he graduated from a fisheries college, so that was the only thing that he knew. But this man one day started to change. He said that he would become a royal master, which he ultimately achieved. Now he's living happily with his wife. He attends church diligently and he evangelizes fervently. Anyhow, all of you need to make a movie in your minds so that you will be able to live happily with your loved ones while helping others. Actually, you need to help those close to you first. It is those who are close to you that you must first help. Who is that person? It's your spouse. You don't know those people who don't lift a finger at home, and they do all kinds of good deeds outside. Is this a good person or a bad person? Usually, these are bad people. So you need to take care of your family first. First, you need to make your spouse happy. You should really satisfy his or her needs. You need to create genuine love first. When I was living in that small house, my doctor friend told me to prepare for my death. He said that I might have to face death early. I thought of what I would leave behind. I was not able to do anything for my wife. I felt terrible knowing that I didn't do anything for her. So I thought about what it was that I could do for her, and I thought hard. I realized that there was something that I had not given her. I had not smiled at her, commended her, nor even thanked her. These were small things that I could do. I realized that even as a dying man, I could do these things for her. So I decided to give all of these things to my wife. From then on, I would smile at my wife. Honey, I'm so glad that I could be your husband. And I started to talk with her all the time. These things are called skills for love. And we need to set a goal for these kinds of things as well. A goal to restore a relationship that is full of love. When you can make that a goal, you can achieve it. If you make your life scenario into a movie within your mind, the life that you've always wanted to live, then that movie will become your reality. If you can play that movie in your mind, it will come true. This is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what the experts call it. I'm telling you to envision this to yourself until it becomes fulfilled. The most important thing in becoming successful is to truly believe that you can succeed and live a good life. Let me show you some of the life scenarios of other people. This is how you should write your life scenario. Members who have written it before must also constantly update theirs. You must also keep remaking the film in your mind. If you don't keep updating your movie, it will disappear from your mind. Your dreams will fade, and they will ultimately disappear. So that is why you need to keep updating your life scenario. There is another form that you must also fill out. This is a form that shows when you were promoted. You can make about $2,000 a month as a sales master. You should write here the date by which you want to achieve that. The same goes for Sharon Rose Master, $10,000 and above for Star Masters, and $50,000 for Royal Masters. You need to write this down on this sheet. There are members who have done this before, so you should ask them if you don't understand how. They will be more than happy to help you out. It is people who have stayed up all night writing this life scenario that have become successful. I hope each and every one of you will all be successful. I will end tonight's lecture hoping that all of you can achieve a balanced life. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, everyone. Please remember to like and subscribe to our Atomy Oceania official YouTube channel for future updates and video content for you and your business development. My name is Robin Chung, Diamond Master here in Perth, Australia. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first online success academy. Thank you, everyone, and keep safe.